everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mercy and I'm back here with another video. So to all of those who are new, welcome, and to those who are, visiting again, thank you for joining. And today I actually have a life update / testimony to give. So let's just get right into it because I don't want to be here rambling. But back in March, I actually quit my job. March 10th was my final day, to be exact. And it was something that I had been wanting to do for really years, honestly. I was there for 3.5 years, and I didn't feel like I was living in my purpose. I did not feel fulfilled there. I didn't feel like I was challenged there. And so, after 3.5 years, God finally gave me the release to quit. And no, I did not have another job lined up. I was applying to jobs that I thought I would, I could see myself doing, more so careers. I was looking more so for a career because I didn't want to just go from one job to another job and have the same thing repeat and play out. So I was very intentional about where I wanted to be. But for some reason, after year one, I was looking for jobs, just never really had any luck. After year two, I actually started interviewing with other companies, but it just didn't feel right. Like I didn't have peace. And so it wasn't until February 27th that I submitted my 2 weeks notice, and I felt God release me, literally. And after my last day, I didn't really apply to jobs, and I had the peace. I still had peace, and I didn't really feel the need to apply to jobs because the whole reason being, I wanted to give God the opportunity to show up as a provider. And a lot of times we're like, oh God, yeah, He provides, He supplies all our needs according to our riches to glory. But do we ever actually let Him provide? Because it's always like, oh, yeah, He can provide, but as long as I have my 9 to 5, as long as I can fall back on that, it's always something to fall back on. And me quitting a job without any job lined up was I had nothing to fall back on. So it was, God, you're either going to show up or you're not really who you say you are. And He did. He showed up for me. And so weeks went by, no job interviews, no job offers. And I started feeling, I still had peace about not searching for employment. But I also didn't want to, I also felt lazy at the same time, like I wasn't doing enough. And so that led me to sign up for, I think I went on Upwork and I was looking at, different contracts so I could do work from home. And I'm in the administration, like business field. So I was focusing mainly on administrative things. And so all that, I applied to like 10 different contracts and they all came out to be scams. And so I was like, wow, Lord. So, and I literally prayed and I was like, Lord, if this is the right direction that you want me to go down, then let me at least get, a job interview, job offer by the end of this week. And all of them were scams. So yeah, I was just like, dang, I'm back to square one. Like what am I supposed to do? I feel like I'm not doing enough, but I also feel like I'm supposed to be resting and I still have this peace. I was just, confuzzled really. And so I finally let it go again. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done trying to, make it happen. So I'm gonna just sit back. You said to rest, you said to, surrender everything to you. So that's what I'm gonna do. I remember my friend, she was telling me and my other friend, like DoorDash was having these, deals where you do a certain amount of deliveries and you get extra money. And I was just like, I don't feel like that's my portion. Like you ever have that knowing and that feeling that you don't have to do something in order to, get what God has for you? So that's where I was at. Like I genuinely was at peace and I just knew that driving delivery, not that there's anything wrong with that, I just knew that that wasn't something that I needed to do in order for God to show up as Jireh in my life. Another thing was, my parents were encouraging me to apply for unemployment, and I went ahead and did it, but I also had that same knowing that I wouldn't need this. Like I just had that much faith that God was gonna that guy was going to show up for me, and he did. So despite all of that, and I haven't been submitting my weeks for unemployment. I ain't gonna hold you because it's just, I don't know. That stuff just kind of, makes me irritated. So I never got any money from unemployment. But what did happen was I got this text from my friend, and she has a 1-year-old son. She asked me to babysit him once a week until I found a job, and it was paid. So I was just like, this has to be God. I was literally minding my business, and literally the opportunity presented itself. That's how God works. When you rest in him and when you allow him to be your provider, he will send and present you with the right opportunities. And so literally, like, what I would have been making on unemployment, I was making babysitting. And so it's just, I'm just amazed. So all this was happening. I've been babysitting for like the last 3-4 weeks, and I will continue to do so. And probably the following week, I was literally at my friend's house on Easter, eating dinner, watching a movie, and she was just like, hey, my job has 2 openings, and she does work in accounting. So, and it wasn't something that I really saw myself doing, like accounting, finance. Those are 2 things that I ran from literally my whole entire career, because I was good at numbers, but I just didn't want, like, I had a fear of like just messing things up. Like when you're doing accounting and finance, like you're messing with people's money and you messing with people's numbers and books. Like I ain't want no part of that. So I always ran from it, but I was at a place where I was open because it was wherever God wanted me. It wasn't about me anymore. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna apply. And I let her know once I applied, and she literally told her supervisor. They got to me the same day and were like, hey, schedule a phone interview. I did that the next day. 2 days later, they were like, hey, let's schedule the in-person interview. I did that the same week and literally got the job the next week. So this all happens mid-April. So that was a month and 9 days since I quit my job. And so I say all this to say, if you give God the opportunity to show himself, he will. And so I encourage you all to do that. And let me tell you about the job. Listen, it's an accounts payable position. And like I said, I've been running from accounting, finance all my career. And so for that to be where God wanted me this entire time, like I literally had to come to a place of surrender. Like, God, where do you want me in order for me to get here? Because I would have never applied for this position had it been a year earlier. I was completely closed off to it. I said I would never do sales. I would never do finance. I would never do, certain things in the business field. And that's what was keeping me at the job the whole time, because I would not surrender my desires or what I thought I wanted or what I thought I didn't want. And God is just funny, because he will literally have you doing the exact thing you said you never would. And so here I am. I got the salary that I desired. It's also a hybrid position, so I get to work 2 days out of the week from home, which was a prayer of mine. I really wanted a remote job, and honestly, hybrid is perfect because if I had a remote job, girl, I don't have the discipline to be completely remote. I ain't gonna hold you, but God knew, he knew, so I gotta work my way there. So hybrid is good with me, and the flexibility is there. It's great work-life balance. So I start in a few weeks, which also was a blessing, because a lot of companies will be like, hey, can you start right away? Like they find out you don't have no job currently, and they be like, can you start tomorrow? And so I'm so happy and blessed that was not my portion, because God knew, like, I like to rest. I believe in rest, and I don't believe from going from job to job without resting first. And so I've had an extended period of rest, which is amazing. And I thank God for that. And it took me to change my heart posture, my perspective. It took me to become open to different possibilities for me to get to this place. And I truly do feel like this is where God wants me to be. And the proof of that is the acceleration and the speed in which this all occurred. Like, normally job processes take, like, interviewing, all this stuff takes like 2 weeks before you even get like feedback or the offer. And so all of this happened in 1 week. So I'm just like, wow, like God really put his acceleration and his speed on this, and that's how I know that this is him, along with his peace as well. So one thing I actually forgot to mention was that the same week that I went to my friend's place, I had a dream that I was actually at their house. And I remember in the dream I was sitting at like their dining table, and I was having a discussion with her mom and her husband. And that's all I remember about the dream. It was that same week. And so when I saw them Easter Sunday, because we attend the same church, I just was walking to my car and I was just like, let me go see what they're doing after church. Like, let me see if they're going out to eat or something. And she was like, oh, no, we're cooking, but you can come over. And I was like, bet, say less. Like, I just had this urge or like this feeling that I needed to go to their house. And so that's how all this unfolded. And I just think it's so crazy that I literally had a dream. And that dream was like the key to me, stepping into this promise. So God works in mysterious ways. And so I thank you guys so much for watching this video. I thank you for listening to this testimony / life update. And I pray that it encourages you to give God the opportunity to show up in your life. I just want to remind you that you don't have to hustle and you don't have to grind for his blessings. Like, he blesses his children because he desires to and he loves us. And so always keep that in mind. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.